just put them in today. Go. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at, make sure your names are on your packet, this first one. Find the number, find the measure of each numbered angle. Okay, well let's start with the easy one. I'm going to ask you what 2 is. What's angle 2? 38, perfect, because those are congruent. What type of special angles are those? What's the name? When they have the same vertex and they make the X. Vertical angles, there we go. Now, we need 3, let's get 3. Now, 3 and the 38 make what type of special angles? What's their name? 2 angles that make a line, what do we call them? Linear pairs. And what do linear pairs add up to? 180. So what's 180 minus 38? Good mental math. So I'm going to, over here on the side, make it look pretty. Now, I think you can get angle 1 with like no work. What's angle 1? 142, because 1 and 3 are congruent, they are vertical angles. So like I said, geometry is the gift that keeps on giving. You're going to see vertical angles and linear pairs still a lot this chapter, just for the record. Okay, but of course we're going to add some new angle pairs to it. So all of those over there on the board is what we're going to work on today. There are some special relationships between them. We're going to get into those really more so tomorrow. Today, we're just taking a look at these special angles and some more vocabulary. We love our vocabulary. 2 lines do not intersect are either parallel or skew. So the words in red are what you have to fill in on the blanks, obviously. Now, we all know what parallel lines are. That's nothing exciting. That's what you covered in Algebra 1. It's just what you mentally picture that they look like. Skew is going to be the new ones for you. So 2 lines are parallel if they do not intersect and are coplanar. So this is kind of the key on this. So parallel lines, just like what you thought in Algebra 1. They have the same slope. They never ever touch. In geometry, we add to this piece of the vocab definition, coplanar. These are really in the same plane. There's my little fancy plane drawn around it. Now, skew lines. Skew lines do not intersect, and they are not coplanar. So I'm going to show you a picture, or we're going to look at some pictures of skew lines. So basically, parallel, skew. They don't intersect, but they're in different planes. And then lastly, let me just scroll it down here to the very bottom. I need a bigger screen. Also, 2 planes do not intersect are parallel planes. So please make sure our phones are away. Please and thank you. So 2 planes that do not intersect, of course, parallel planes. Now, clearly the word theme of the day here, parallel. Again, if you don't like to write parallel all the time, don't forget there's that little geometry symbol. That means parallel. You're welcome to use that symbol too if you don't want to write it. Okay. Now, parallel lines. These are going to be easy to pick out. Mine are in red. Unfortunately, we don't have color copy machines. Of course, the triangles on the lines, these right here symbols, those indicate the lines are parallel. So line M, line N are parallel lines. And don't forget, you have to write the word line. So there's a throwback to chapter 1, doing all the naming. Line M, line N. Now, I'm going to go out of order. I'm going to do the easy stuff first. Parallel planes. Well, clearly, mine are in color. My blue and my green plane never intersect. They are parallel planes. So plane T and plane U. Don't forget the word plane, of course. There's a little review. Chapter 1. Okay, skew lines. This is the new part. You've never seen skew lines, talked about skew lines in your life. There are 2 lines that do not intersect, and they're in different planes. So one of the skew lines in the picture is line K. So this guy right here. So what other line do you think is skew to it? They do not intersect. So it's got to be line which one? M or N? Yeah, because M is behind it. So you have the front one and the line behind it. They're never ever touching, but they're in different planes. So parallel lines are just what you think of for parallel lines. There's nothing fancy about parallel lines. Skew lines never touch in different planes. That is the key, especially when we get to doing some vocabulary. I'm going to scroll this down so we can see the picture there. Think of each segment in the figure as part of a line. Which lines or planes appear to fit the description? So let me scroll this so we can see the whole picture here. Okay, so A, parallel to line CD and containing point A. Okay, all right. Well, parallel to it, of course, is going to be this guy. And remember, they're telling you that that really looks like a segment, but that's really part of a line. So I'm going to call that line AB. For part A. Lines skew to CD and containing point A. Well, there's actually two of them. So it's not going to be the blue one here from previous. So skew and containing A. It's going to be this guy, which I know is off the screen. A. I want to say it's H down there, isn't it? Yeah, line AH is one of them. I'm going to put that on. And there's another one, line AG. Because you would have these, they're skew, they're never going to touch, they're in different planes. Got it. Lines perpendicular, right angle, remember perpendicular lines make right angles. Lines perpendicular to CD and containing A. So perpendicular is going to be this purple one, because it makes the right angle. So line AB. And then let's do this last but not least, planes parallel to EFG, so the bottom. So if you think about it being a cube or a three-dimensional box, clearly parallel to the bottom is the top. So I'm going to call that plane. Now it wants you to use point A. So A, B, C, or A, B, D. Remember, you need 3 points to name a plane. You go A, B, C. Got it. So that's the first part of your homework today. They're just going to ask you to pick up some parallel lines, skew lines, perpendicular, all that sort of good stuff. Any questions on those? All right, more vocabulary and whatnot here. Now, parallel postulate, perpendicular postulate. These are something crazy wordy for something to me is like super obvious. So basically, if I make a line and I draw a point anywhere, there's only one way I could draw a line so they're parallel. Because if I slanted it all too much, it won't run parallel. You can only make one parallel line to it. Same for perpendicular. If I slant it either way too much, it's not going to make a right angle. There's only one exact way you could draw it to make it be a perpendicular line. That's what these are saying. Kind of, if you ask me, common sense, which we have a lot of. Okay. Here's all these fun angles, the color coding up here on the board we're going to get into. So transversal. That's the first blank you got to fill in there. A transversal, a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points. So you can see they're labeled T here. So here's your transversal. Here's our transversal. Now there are four different pairs of angles that come up here with our transversal. Corresponding. So corresponding angles are in similar locations. Now that is not the only pair of corresponding angles. There are a lot of corresponding angles. For instance, this guy and this one. Those would be corresponding. These blue ones are corresponding. This other pair is corresponding. There are a lot of pairs of corresponding angles in the picture. I only put one over there on the board, and there's only one on this one too. But there's a lot of them, just for the reference. Okay, alternate interior. Use the name. Alternate on either side of the green transversal inside the two lines. And of course, there's more than one pair. These guys are also alternate interior angles. So again, a lot of names, a lot of vocabulary. I don't expect you to have these all memorized in like 30 seconds. That's why I put them on the board too. But today we're going to practice recognizing the different types. And again, use the names. Alternate exterior. So again, your transversal, alternate on either side, outside of the lines, exterior. Use the names. Okay, Last but not least here, consecutive interior. So remember, the word consecutive means right in a row, right after each other. So bam, bam, 3 and 5. These would also be consecutive interior. And they're going to be inside the line. Eventually, tomorrow, let's be honest, tomorrow, there's going to be some relationships between these angles. They might be equal, they might add to 180. We'll get into all of that tomorrow. Today, we are just practicing recognizing them. Okay, classify the number of angles. Okay, so I'm going to, of course, in green, just to keep it consistent, there's my transversal, of course. How I know that's a transversal, it's intersecting 2 or more lines, 2 or more. Now, 1 and 5. They're on the same side of the transversal, so no alternate. So in my head, I'm like, okay, they're either corresponding or consecutive interior. Well, they're not back to back, so consecutive's out. These are in similar locations, so corresponding. All right, green transversal, right there for you. Now, 2 and 7, I see one's on the right, one's on the left. Alternate. I'm going to abbreviate, you can too. The question is, are they alternate interior or alternate exterior? Exterior, good, because they're outside the lines. You can abbreviate. Let me scroll it down to the final picture. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to highlight the transversal in green. We're going to actually do that straight. Okay, on either side, one on the right, one on the left, so alternate. Interior or exterior? Interior, they're inside the lines. Got it. So that's why I said use the names of the special pairs of angles to help you figure out what's what. Like I said, today we're just going to be identifying different angles. All right, identify all the pairs of angles. Oh gosh, okay. Let's do corresponding first, of course. That's what you have first on your notes. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of corresponding angles in here, okay? A lot of pairs. I'm going to give you half the pair. You're going to tell me what corresponds to. I'm going to start easy with 1. What's the corresponding angle to 1? I heard it, 5. Similar locations. What about 4? What corresponds to 4? 8. Okay, what about, I might regret using yellow. 3 corresponds to what? 7. I know sometimes the yellow is hard to see. And clearly, what's the last pair corresponding? 2 and 6. So there's always the most amount of corresponding angles, just for the record. Okay, let's do B, alternate interior. Not quite as many. Let me erase all my little drawings here. All the different colors getting crazy on us. Okay. Alternate interior, I'm going to give you half of it. So what about 2? What's alternate interior to 2? 2 and 7. There was only one other pair of alternate interiors. What are they? 4 and 5. Does it matter if I say 5 and 4 versus 4 and 5? Nah, who cares? Just add them both. You guys know. Okay, all right. Let's do our alternate exterior. Okay. I'm going to give you part of it. 1 and 8. On either side of the green line, and then on the outside, of course. What's your last pair of alternate exterior?
3 and 7.
I'm sneaking it on. I'm way at the bottom. I'm running out of room. Okay, let me erase this. Last but not least, okay. Consecutive interior. I'm going to give you part of it. 2 and 5. Right in a row, inside the lines on the same side. Some textbooks actually call those, if you're like, ooh man, that consecutive word, some books call those same side interior. So if that makes more sense to you. What's the other pair of consecutive interior?
4 and 7.
4 and 7. So here's the nice thing. Have we really done any work today on anything? No? So there's really not hardly any work on your homework. There's a couple algebra problems at the end, of course, but the rest of it, it's picking out, of course, the angle. So I don't think it should be too stressful, at least I hope today. Hope not, anyway. All right, last up. Let's just do a little algebra practice, right? A little SAT review, because why not, my friends? If y equals kx, okay, y is 24, x is 6. Well, let's start with that. I'm going to put 24 in for y. 6 in for x. I have a good feeling you can mental math it and tell me what k is. 4. Clearly not the answer. It's not over there. It's not the answer. What is y? Okay, I know k is 4 now. I got it. When x is 5. Oh, I got it. What's 4 times 5? 20. See. Too easy, too easy. Just a little wordy SAT type of problem to practice. Okay,